Hey, you guys. Hey, it's Rick, man. Boy, I'm telling you, man, doing this Bible, doing God's work is a lot of work, man. Shit, fire, man. But listen, I want to tell you, I've been doing some more research, and what I've done is I went, just playing along in line with the Bible. We have we're coming to chapter 11 when we're talking about the Tower of Babel. And it's really very interesting. It's probably one of the shorter ones that I've done so far, but it's taken me the longest because it's fascinating, just absolutely fascinating. What I have found is that the Bible, as we're reading it, we're only like 4 or 5 pages in on it, is talking about the birth of consciousness and how it's growing, and we just finished with the sons of Noah as they divided up the land, and this is the north, this is the lower mind that we're talking about. Remember, we're not talking about anything real. We're talking about how our mind operates, and we're being introduced to the characters. Even if they're hard to talk about, they all represent a certain phase or feeling or thinking or something or route or whatever of something that's inside of us. And if anything, just to tell a story. And that story winds up being what goes on inside our minds. And it's just very interesting that, that as we keep going on down the road, more and more is being revealed to us that there's more story here than meets the eye, and that in this particular story here, that if I would say that not only is it backwards, written from right to left in Hebrew, I guess, I don't know where they get their changes from, who wrote it originally or whatever. But a lot of these words are Hebrew letters, Hebrew whatever, and a lot of things are Greek, very Greek. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's also written to where you have to go from the back to the front, to the start. So it's really interesting because it changes everything when you read it like that. All right, so not only is it right to left, but it's also from like bottom to top. All right, which is just so cool. It makes a whole different story, because if what you get is you found if you read the story from the top down, what you get is you get a bunch of rebellious type of people these people started to journey towards. They're journeying from the east, so they're going towards the west. And then they found a plain, and in the land of Shinar, and dwelt there. And they said to another, "Hey, let's make brick, and let's burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, "Look, go out and build a city and a tower which will reach up into heaven, and let's make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered about upon the face of the earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children had built it. And the Lord said, "Behold, the people is one, and they have all the language, and they have all one language." And this they began to do. And it says, "And now nothing will restrain them, in which they can, whatever they imagine to do." So it says here, "Go to, let us go down. Let's go down, and there confound." This is what it says. And let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from hence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build a city to the west. It says, therefore its name will be called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of the earth, and from hence scattered them abroad on the face of the earth. Then there's a whole lot of names and numbers and stuff like that, and who's begetting and who's begatting and all of that. But it does wind up being down here at the end where it talks about the whole trip here is Abraham and his wife are being sent forth from the east, from the mountains to the land of the Canaans. And it talks about the death of Haran, which is pretty interesting. All right, so before we go on this trip, remember we're going it's the number systems are 1 through 7. So 1 is an initiation, it's your God, it's the beginning. 2 is his creation, things. 2 things, just his creations. 2, which is usually you. 3, it is you. 3 becomes you with him or it. The energies together is 3. It's a blessing. 4 becomes the fourfold nature of man, which can split up into our conscious and where we are at this time in our world. Our world would be the fourfold, would be like the north and the south and the east and the west, which would be the left is the intellect. Yes, the left is the intellect, the right is the spiritual, the north is the, what do you got up here? You got your emotions up here, and you got your physical down in the south. And then you got 5. 5 represents the skin or the body, you. All right, 5. 6 becomes the top of a ladder where you can see God face to face. It's about accomplishing a certain task to get up this particular place. It's the day before the Lord. It's just one poke over from there to the other side, which is 7, and 7 becomes wrath. It becomes food. It becomes aid or help. It becomes whatever it is that happens. This is the moment of anything happening, and it's either compromise, or it's either been some kind of a smiting, God's wrath coming down on you, or some kind of a change. But 7 is a completion number, and 8 is the new you afterwards, and 9 is the number for consciousness. Consciousness in half, split in half, because we're in duality. We have the good side and the bad side to us, and that's really all that means. So let's get into this really fast, okay, because I want to go quick. And it's really about a journey, about our minds being led to be on its own. This is the idea that you have your own way of having your God's grace. You're being led freely and with the God's blessing to go down and to mingle on the plane. All right, and we're going to read this backwards. Okay. So Terra is this lower mind, and it's called the wanderer. That's what they're talking about, because you are the lower mind, and when you're wandering, it's because you're letting loose of your father and mother. You're letting loose of them to cling to your wife. And so if you can understand that, if you can fathom the idea that they are just a little lower in the conscious scale, that now that you're stuck with your emotions, and that's really more important to you, and it grows an ego. If it's not quelled and properly cleaned, it can grow a monster. All right? And so it's really about, these are more about now, hey, what are we going to do with this conscious now? Okay? And they obviously want to go and do something. Okay? Now, when they were talking earlier about building things, when they were given nothing but bricks, but they're not given anything, they said, let's take for us bricks. Let's take for us slime. So it's something that they are asking for, and that's in place of stone. and in place of straw. So they didn't say anything about straw, but that's going to be one of the next parts of this here. So what it is they're taking something that's from man-made and giving up the stone, which is, God, and hard and never ending or never changing. So it's the idea, again, another idea of dealing and going to the lower. All right. So anyways, what happens is, let me see. I'm going to go really fast on this. I don't want to go forever. So it looks like right off the bat that we are going to get a 7. All right, a 7 is going to be when the person dies. It's 205 years. That's 7. All right, 7 is 1. It's actually the beginning when somebody dies. All right, in these stories. So beginning is 1. All right, plus it is the death. Okay, 1, 2 is Terah. 3 is Haran, 4 is Canaan, 5 is the Ur of Chaldees, 6 is Abram's wife, and 7 is Sarai. All right, and these are the bottom ones on the chart. And we'll go fast. Okay, we'll go through this here. So we have 1 is when they died, when Terah died. All right, and 2 is Terah, the wanderer. That's going to be you and me. And 3, we have Haran, which is the mountain. I think that's what it is. When we're joined up with this beautiful thing, we are in the mountain. This is where we are. We're still there. We haven't left yet. So 3 and 4, we're on our way to Canaan. Canaan is a world, and it's what subdues us. That's what that is. We're gonna go out to Las Vegas. That's really what this world is like. So 5 is the Ur of Chaldees. There's 5. Here's it's talking about it. This is like dream world. This is like the lower conscious is like this one big free for all. Look how they made it. Look how the world is. He tell you about it being free for all. Oh my God. This is the Ur of Chaldees, man. That's what it is. So 5, then this is all because of our link with the wife. 6, Abraham's wife. So it's really the mind and our emotions linking together, and that's 6. So that's work. 6, 7 is Sarah. She's what you get out of this is the wife. All right. So that opens up a world, a whole new world. All right, and that world contains Terah, Abram's in here a lot. Remember, Abram he's in a spot where he can lift us, but he hasn't lifted. All right, so he's a part of our emotions. All right, so we have Terah, we have Abram, we have Lot, and we have Harden. All right, so the way that works is in the west we have Terah, the wanderer, the land and the wanderer. So that's our intellect. So our left side, let's go this way, our left side is wandering, just lost. This is how they get the Jews. It's with anybody. When the Indians have lost and left their tribe, they say the same thing, that those people are out there. They're just lost. They're asleep. All right. In the north, we have Abraham. He's always going to be reaching. That's Abraham. He's going to show up there a lot. We also have Lot as 5. Lot is the veil. So this is our skin. It's a veil. So it's a covering. It's a covering of something. 5 is. I keep saying 5, but it's an S. Is our south, our skin. So it's hidden from us. That's what that means. Lot in the book, he becomes the guy that's holding the door shut. He's the arachnoid. He's what separates the two. He doesn't let anything negative or man-made come into the other side. No, nothing on the man's side was allowed in that. That's what Lot is. He sits at the gates of the city. So think about that. That's pretty interesting and beautiful writing. So we get. We still have the east. Oh, are we doing this right? I hope I didn't screw this up. Yes. So, and we still have Herod, the mountains in our lines. All right. So we move a little further along, and looks like we get a set of 3s. So that would be Sarah, because we love Sarah. We love Sarah so much that we become some kind of a whore. We're Isaac and Milike or something like that. But 2 is the whore. You become, I'm just going to be sold. I do whatever I want. When you go down in this land, you can become some kind of a servant of some kind, but not to God. You're a servant to someone else, servant of man. So then you get 3, which is the king. This is what you have decided to side with something on earth, which is a king. That's what they would talk about, and that's a king or a queen for you guys that think this is always so sexist. All right, 3. Now, next thing you know, we have another. Was this 3, or does it keep on going? I think it goes. 3. No, let's go. Let's start off with 1. So we have Hera, 1. Yeah, here it goes. 2. Now it's 2, 3. Alright, so it just has another 3 going on. I can see it, but you should see this. You should see my notes. They are absolutely wild. Hera, we have Malach, and where's the 3 at? Sarai. So we have the east still in. We still have Hera still in place for 1, which is the high country is still in place. The king is now you. The 2 is coming in, and Sarah is what you're connected to. So things are starting to fade. You're seeing as you go down the mountain, you're starting to lose this, and that opens up a whole new set of worlds. So we got another 4, and so what we get are the wives. We get Nahor, we get Abram, and we get the Ur of Chaldees. So that's our and let's see where else we have. How does this work? Yeah, that's how it works. So what you have is we are now our west. Our west is now governed by the Earl of Chaldees. The west is now our mind. This is it. This is our anchor. That's the west. The north is Abram. He's still there. South, Nahor. This is the horse. This is you've turned into some kind of a beast or something like that. It says horse. It says horse like like you can't talk. But I think that would be like the same word in garden in some ways. But it also means being a labor. Being a pack horse. The skin. That's what it is. South. All right, and all because our east now we've taken on our wives. That's what it says here. That them wives, taking on the wives, and so that means the east. All right, so and that opens up to 1, 2, 3, which becomes. I mean, this goes. It's kind of going fast. I hope. It's not. It those open up a whole nother world. Is what it does, and these are the generations of Terah. All right, Terah, Abram, Nahor, and Lot. All right, this is what it's turned into. Remember we're slowly turning into something else because the love and the connection to God's close is coming to a close. We have Terah. Terah, is she still over here as our west? That's the lower mind is now the boss. We have in our intellect, Abram still up at the north. Nahor is snorting now. It says the snorting, so it's like an animal. And we have to the east we have Lot. All right, which is the veil. Now we are totally cut off from the other side. Alright. So this is what it used to be. It used to be Abraham, Ner, and Haran. It used to be one time the mountains were the one. It used to be you. We're still in there. You're still that snorting animal in between. and this Abram was the elevator. This was what you had to go with. This was just free. But now what it happens to be that this is now a whole new set. This is a whole new world that has come up. So what happens is we have the wanderer, which is Terah, the wanderer. We have 2, which is the snorting, which is you. 3, we become the branch, which is, remember, these ideas of branches, this idea of our emotions come from the north. And then we have, actually this looks like it's coming into being a 7. 5 is plague, which means, which is division. So 5 is our body, and and it is half. That's what the idea of being in these 2 different personalities. This is now being split in half. So 5 is plague, which says division, and then we have Eber, which is 6, which is the one that gets you over. It means to go through. Eber is the through, so 6. It is working out that way. And 7 becomes Salah, the peace. All right, so you get peace. So you get some peace, but I don't think that's not the idea that they want. But that's what we used to get, and this is the death. Not the death, and this is these are the generations of Shem. Shem is the ego, the lower mind. All right, and this is also connected with this alpha or this arflexed guy, whatever he is. But this is the mind, and it's also the healer, and it's also the releaser. So the mind is all of these things at one time. And let's go real fast. Let's read the way this sounds when we go the other way around. Therefore, its name. All right. So once they've made it all the way down, therefore the name, let it be called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And Babel means confusion. All right, so that's what it means. So that's the way it was already. It didn't happen because of something. This is the idea that confusion actually is how they define what goes on down in the plane, in the lower mind. All right, and scattered them abroad on the face of the earth. That's 1. 2. So the Lord scattered them abroad from hence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build a city. And this is to the west. All right. 3. Go to. Let us go down. Let's go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Then we go to 4. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. That's 4. 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. And they said, Go, and let us build a city and a tower which top may reach into heaven, and let us make us a name, which is the ego, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth. And they said one to one another, Go to, let's now make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime, and slime they had for mortar. Where's the next one at? And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain, in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt, and they dwelt there. Now, Shinar means watch over people who sleep, watch over those who sleep. So they think that the idea of being asleep is being without God, not being connected. All right? So it's in the land of Shinar. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. All right. I know that was really long. But did you understand how if you read that all backwards, it doesn't turn out being wrong? It sounds like it was a blessing. They had God's blessing to go down there, or the person. So it's just the idea that that you got your choice, and we're going to go and experience something now. We've been introduced to Abraham and his wife. I know that the stories, to give you a little ahead of, is that he has to wake up. But God tells him, wake up, time to leave your father's land. It's a beautiful meditation story. It'll explain a whole lot about how our minds work. And it's most interesting because it's really, it's their first taste of real life. And of course, it'll be, I'm going to continue in this session, in this, in the way, what's coming next. Because it's, I think that it's like a school of some kind. This book here is telling us how things work, and it's really neat. All right, so best to you guys, and chat with you soon. All right, I love you.